Hi and welcome to It's Miracle Beauty. My name is Brandy and we are a beauty review channel. Today I am reviewing and doing a wear test for the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Foundation. I actually received this, I think, close to a month ago. Ulta released it actually before Colourpop did. It was like a deal they did, I think. And I did purchase it there. I tried it previously and I just wasn't loving it. So I did want to give it a wear test and see if I could get it to look better. Already today it looks a lot better than it did during that experience. So I do have high hopes for today. So if you're into eyeshadow reviews, foundation wear tests, makeup minutes, or full face Friday, I hope that you will subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of my uploads. And then also share and like, as it helps all YouTubers. And let's get into this wear test. So as you saw from the intro and title, I am doing a wear test and demonstration of the Pretty Fresh by Colourpop Foundation. This is a new foundation. I believe it came on Ulta early when I ordered it, but it was released July 9th on Colourpop's website. So I am going to use a sponge today, and I am just pumping some on the back of my hand and get started. So this is the final look with, powder, eyes done, everything. And it is, I'm noticing, sinking into some lines already. Nothing too horrible, but definitely something that I normally don't see with my foundations that I use on a regular basis. It's definitely sinking into my forehead lines. It's sinking into my smile lines. On my cheeks and like the broader areas, even my nose, it looks really good. I don't think there's anything to complain about. This is the second time I've worn this foundation, and the first time looked really good. I did not, however, test it in heat. I did not wear a mask, none of that, so I'm not sure how this is going to hold up. I do find that the most hydrating foundations usually hold up the least. The matte lasts the longest. I think that's kind of common knowledge, and for my skin I find that to be the same. So I will check back in later at the end of the day and let you know how it held up with wearing a mask to the store, the birthday, and everything else, and then we'll see how things look at that point. Okay, this is the end of the night and 8 hours in technically, and I just want to show it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I do have creasing, but it's not as bad. I mean, it's really not much worse than it was this morning. I definitely do have creasing on my forehead, but that is normal. And then I have wear off my nose, which is normal also, but considering I had to wear a mask in 2 stores, a restaurant and a store, I don't think that it really is that bad considering. Like, that's really the only place. I do have a little bit of breakdown right here, but again, wearing a mask is going to accelerate everything. So I think, honestly, I don't think it did that bad. So this is day 2 of my foundation wear test with the Pretty Fresh Colourpop. My first day was not very successful. I'm going to insert all of the, whether it's perfect footage or not, I'm going to insert so you can see my skin and see what it looks like. I am going to fast forward through the application since it is day 2. This is the first look from the Kaleidos Escape Kit that I've done. It's not necessarily my favorite, and I'm still fine tuning it, but the shadows did perform absolutely amazing, just like the Kaleidos 4 seems to always do. But I am going to start with the foundation. I am in 33C. This one does seem to run a little bit higher in the numbers. So like if you're a 5W or 5 what neutral and you go into these, they're a little bit different. There is a chart that compares your shade in the tinted moisturizer to this on Colourpop's website, and it will help you kind of determine. That's how I realized what my shade was, and I would say this is a pretty good shade for me. So I'm going to use the Pretty Fresh concealer. This is not necessarily my favorite concealer. It's not that it's like horrible, it's just not my favorite. I feel like I have to use more, and I have to let it sit for a minute for it to do its job. I am going to just let that sit. I did use my Kaleidos Tone Activator under my eyes, and I do feel like it made them pop more. Again, this isn't completely finished, but I feel like the colors were way more vibrant than they normally are. So that is the finished look of it with the concealer. I'm going to go finish the rest of my makeup. I'll come back and show you, and then I will be checking in throughout the day. Okay, this is the finished look for the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Foundation. I think it does a really good job. It actually is a high medium coverage. The first time I used it, I think I didn't use as much, except for in areas I might have used a bit too much. And I feel like it did a lot to cover my skin. It's definitely medium. You can still see my freckles and see some of my skin, but it looks natural. So I did prime with the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Priming. I used the Hyaluronic Acid Pretty Fresh Concealer, obviously the foundation, but I also set it with the Pretty Fresh. If you look, I do like this one. It for me, it's really good at transforming powders. It makes powders that look really super powdery and unnatural. It kind of moistens them and helps it get a better fit. So that is my foundation test so far. I will check in later and let you know exactly how it's working. I think it's 10:30. About 10 when I finish my foundation, so we're gonna use 10 as the check-in time. However, I will check in throughout the day if I see any changes, or just let you see exactly what it looks like in the middle of the day. So I will see you again in a minute. So this is 3 hours in roughly. I just got home from voting and running to a couple stores. I don't see any breakage at all on my cheeks. I see a little bit on my nose with the mask rubbing it. I don't think that's anything against the foundation. So far, I think it's doing really good. I don't see anything that would cause me to dislike it. I don't see any caking. I don't see any lines forming. I mean, I have a little bit right here. As soon as I pat them out, they're gone. So I will check in at the end of the night, but so far, it's doing really good. So it's been almost 9 hours. I don't see a ton. Other than my nose, I don't see any breakdown. I don't see anything on my forehead. A little bit on my chin, just a touch. But I do tend to sit like this or like this a lot, so that could be why. I see very little settling in my cracks of my face that look like cracks once it settles. But I think that this foundation is really good. So again, I think that I give the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Foundation a pretty good review. I do think the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Foundation did pretty good. I don't know if this would make it to 10 or 12 hours, but for the most part, that's not how long I'm wearing my makeup anymore now that I'm not working 2 shifts. Sorry, my autofocus is not liking me today. So now that I'm not working 2 shifts, I don't think I'd need it that long, so that's okay for me. But if you need it for that long, I would look for a more matte or long wearing foundation. So if you like foundation tests, if you like eyeshadow reviews, if you like Makeup Mondays or Full Face Fridays, I hope that you will subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications. And don't forget to like and share, and I hope I see you again soon.